Hello, my name is Akenna and welcome to my YouTube podcast. If you're here, it means that you were probably searching for something inspirational. Maybe you had a question and you typed it in, or maybe you just stumbled upon it by God's grace because you needed to hear something inspirational or a good message today. Today I want to talk a bit about how important it is for us to block out noise when sharing our stories or when working towards empowering ourselves and empowering others. Sharing our stories can be a really deeply empowering experience because it allows us to connect with others, inspire change, and find healing, not just amongst communities but within ourselves. However, we live in a digital age where information overload and constant judgment prevail. Blocking out noise becomes an essential skill, and I really want to encourage you guys today to consider and focus on what it means to do just that. So, when we allow opinions of others to drown out our voice, what we actually do is surrender control of our own narrative. We have to become comfortable to expose our triumphs, our struggles and insecurities to the world. But in reality, unfortunately, not everyone will respond with compassion or empathy. There will always be those who criticize, judge, accuse you of lying, maybe say you're seeking attention, and indirectly or directly try to seek or undermine your experience. It's so important for you to block out the external opinions of others who would try to drown out your voice as you try to surrender control and they try to control your narrative. Controlling and claiming your narrative is a powerful tool, and you need to begin to block out the noise, not just so you could protect your mental health, but so that you could protect your story. One strategy to cultivate a strong sense of self-worth is when we believe in the value of our story, we become less affected by negative feedback. Building your own self-esteem through self-care, therapy, or surrounding yourself with a supportive community can really help to bolster your resilience. I know for me, when I struggle with finding peace in times when I would share my story, my community of women, the women that are in my Bible study, through my online church, they really help to support me from just doubting myself to knowing that my story is valuable, that I've earned the right to share my story, and that the enemy, because I am a person of faith, the enemy, the devil, does not get to control the narrative of my life. Now, it doesn't mean to say that there would not be boundaries or wisdom, because we must exercise wisdom in everything that we do, and setting appropriate boundaries is crucial in our lives in every area, especially when we're trying to block out noise. It's essential to determine who we share our stories with so that we could create safe spaces for our vulnerability. Not everyone deserves access to our deepest experiences. And I know for those of you that are listening that maybe share publicly on social media like me sometimes, it could be hard because there would be people in those platforms and on those spaces that would know you and they would cast judgment or they would distance themselves from you. But you have to become comfortable with blocking out that noise. Choose trusted friends, family, or support groups that would allow you to share without fear of judgment. The next thing that could be a real challenge is your own internal noise. That could be equally challenging to overcome. Sometimes we think that people are saying this or people are saying that when it's in our own mind, our own head. So it's important to do daily introspection and have self-compassion. You know above anybody else what you've survived. You know above anybody else what you've overcome. So recognizing your own self-critical thoughts and reframing them with positive affirmations would be incredibly empowering. Surrounding yourselves with people who uplift and validate your experiences would also help to silence that internal noise. And I mean, it's true, our internal dialogue, it greatly influences how we perceive stories, because the reality is a lot of times people will tell you not to share your story because they are not at peace with sharing theirs. Maybe you being brave and bold to leave a situation, to leave that toxic relationship, is a direct reminder of their inability to leave theirs. Maybe you speaking up or taking that leap of faith to leave that particular job with no backup plan somehow triggers something inside of them because they didn't make that step, or they didn't take the leap, or they don't know how to take the leap in the way that you do or the way that you did. But at the end of it all, we have to ask ourselves, how could we handle external noise and internal noise when it arises? So, when facing external noise, it's important to remember that not every opinion matters. It is very important as well to remember that not every opinion of everyone that you like or that likes you matters. Now, constructive feedback is valuable, but unsolicited criticism could be very detrimental. So you have to develop a discerning ear and choose whose voices you will allow to become vital in your life. Seek out mentors or allies who offer guidance and support. And I know sometimes we say, oh, you're just going to go around people who will tell you that what you want to hear. Sometimes you do need to be around people that will tell you what you want to hear. Because especially if you are a trauma survivor, and I'll get into that before we close, if you're someone who have survived trauma, you may have been told what not to believe. You may have been mind tricked to believe other things. So you need to get around allies, people who can offer that guidance and support while filtering out the noise of those who may not understand or appreciate your journey. And it doesn't mean that those who don't understand or appreciate the journey are horrible people. It doesn't mean that at all. All it probably means is that they just don't understand because they've never walked it. And this is where the importance of having those allies, or those mentors, people who get it, are so important in your life. So I really want to encourage you to embrace your stories unapologetically. Remember that your experiences matter, and sharing them can create a ripple effect of change and connection. It could break generational curses. It can save future generations just by you sharing your story. Also, embrace the discomfort that comes with it and find solace in the knowledge that your story has the power to inspire and uplift others, regardless of the naysayers. There is a scripture that says, there is more for you than there is against you. And people here use it in a saying, there is more for you than there are against you. A lot of times we focus on the one that is against versus the hundreds that's for. And that's a trick of the enemy to get you to shut up. Before we conclude, I want to touch upon what I was talking about with trauma, and how important healing ties into, how importantly your healing ties into you sharing your story. Sharing your story is a significant step in your survival journey and healing journey. Survivors often face unique challenges when it comes to breaking their silence. I was a victim of domestic violence for many years, and nobody really knew, apart from one or two trusted people, counselors, things like that. And though many years later, my abuser and I, we separated, and he is on his own healing journey. The truth is that part of my healing was me sharing my story. And it came with a lot of backlash because people often said, you shouldn't say this or you shouldn't say that. But I wasn't saying a lot for years. In fact, I never even used to ask for what I wanted in the relationship. I never even used to say I was unhappy. So speaking up may have seemed foreign or different for people around me, but it was part of what I needed to heal. People that truly want to see you healed, people that truly love you, people that truly care about your healing will not judge what you need to heal. If you need to do a particular thing, if you need to run around your house 5 times a day because that is what you need to heal, people that truly love you will not judge your healing, what you need to do to heal, because they would want to see you healed at the end of the day. And if some of these steps towards that healing doesn't look like what they want it to look like, that's okay. Because remember, going back, not everybody is an ally because they don't understand it. Sometimes people just need to stand and observe the healing journey. Sharing your story can be a transformative and healing journey. It's so important for survivors of trauma to block out noise and just share experiences regardless of what people might say or think. For survivors of trauma, sharing a story can also be a way to reclaim your power and to find validation. People often say that you don't need validation. Well, sometimes you have to validate your own self. Sometimes you have to validate your own self. Again, because if you've been through trauma, you would have been in a period of silence and your brain would have tricked you to believe that that was normal, but it wasn't. Your journey of healing from trauma can be very isolating, and by sharing your experiences, survivors would not only find solace in knowing that they're not alone, but you would also inspire others who would be going through similar experiences. So if you're listening to this and you are a trauma survivor heading to be a thriver, I want to encourage you to share your story. Share your story because it will allow other survivors to break that cycle of silence and shame that often accompanies trauma. It could challenge societal misconceptions and stereotypes, especially amongst communities of faith. Educating others about the true impact of trauma and fostering empathy and understanding, to me, that is a crucial point, because people keep other people in a spiral of trauma by judging and shaming them for their healing journey and what it looks like, when it should be really just us letting people be, loving them even if it means from afar, but giving them their space and their moment and their time to heal. Survivors can change the narrative around trauma, really dismantle stigmas and advocate for much needed support and resources. And moreover, when survivors share their story, they become beacons of hope for others who may still be trapped in the darkness of their own trauma. Their bravery inspires others to seek help, to start their healing journey, and to believe in the possibility of recovery. So if you're a survivor and you're considering sharing your story, I want to say that it's crucial to prioritize your well-being above all else and above everyone else. Take whatever time you need to heal and build a strong support system. Surround yourself with trusted individuals who can provide the emotional support and the understanding that you need. I would also recommend, like I said earlier, connecting with survivor-centered organizations and support groups that get it. Surround yourself with trusted individuals who could provide that emotional support that you need. Getting in the right communities that would offer a safe space so that you could share your story with people who understand your journey and that can provide a guidance and empathy that people that are not in it can't understand. So I really want to, conclude by saying that it's really significant to continue to block out noise when sharing your story, both in general and specifically for trauma survivors. Remember that your voice matters. You've earned the right, just by surviving, you have earned the right to share your story. And by silencing the noise, blocking out the noise, you are reclaiming your narrative, you're inspiring change, and you are finally healing within yourself. So remember that your story has the power to make a difference. Join me next time in my next episode. Not sure what I'm going to share on next, but until then, keep sharing, keep listening, keep smiling, and keep empowering each other by sharing your story. God bless you. Bye-bye.